market insurance has its own problems. One of the biggest problems with market insurance, so market insurance is people basically saying, look, you know, if I'm going to go to an insurance company and say, if the weather's bad, you know, we'll have a deal, I'll pay you when the weather is good, you pay me when the weather is bad. That would be a market insurance. The one advantage of mutual insurance over market insurance is typically that I have a lot of information about my neighbors. I know that the weather was really bad. You know, your crop, I saw it drying up with my own eyes. So you weren't lazy or anything. It's not that you didn't put in your effort. I saw it drying up, and I saw you trying as hard as you can to save your crop, and your crop dried up. So it's a very different informational base. You get free information from being a neighbor, basically. I observed that, you know, my neighbor is working very hard. He's trying to get water from anywhere, but his crop is drying up. So with an insurance company, it's much harder for it to know what's going on. Whether this was sort of, whether you put in the effort or not, so an insurance company tends to provide much less comprehensive coverage. So typically, if you are my neighbor, and I know that you were trying as hard as you can, I'll help you, even if you know in the end it doesn't work out. I know it's not your fault. Because an insurance company will try to make sure that there is no scope for your manipulating that. So it will tend to not insure you on things you have any control on. So in other words, you don't get income insurance, you get what is sometimes called index insurance. So what it says is that I don't care what your income is, I'm going to insure you if the rainfall is lower than a certain amount. And the difference is that imagine the rainfall was actually good in a particular year, but I was unlucky. Something else happened. Some bug came and infected my crops. Then the insurance company is not going to pay me. Whereas my neighbor, he would see exactly what happened, and he would be willing to help me. So you get much less good insurance, but still, on the other hand, as I said, it's less fragile. It's a contract. The insurance company is kind of committed to giving it to you. So that's sort of the trade-off. Now, the experience so far for poor people has been that market insurance has not been very popular. And it's not been very popular for partly because I think the reason why explaining what I'm just explaining is complicated. So when I tell you somebody in this room from MIT that I'm going to condition the insurance on how much it rains in the next year, you'll understand. You know that there is a system for measuring rain. There are weather stations. At every weather station, there is a gauge, and you get a fairly objective measure of rainfall. If I'm a villager who doesn't understand how that works, I think you're going to cheat me. How would I know how much it rained? If you tell me it's less than 20 inches, I'll pay you. Who's measuring 20 inches? So unless I have a great deal of trust in the institutions, I'm going to be skeptical. I'm going to say, well, I have no idea. Maybe it's 21 inches, maybe it's 19 inches. How would I know? So it's not been very popular. So the market has mostly failed to sell insurance for this reason, and I'll show you a little bit of data on that in a minute. But it's been very frustrating. Now what's interesting is that, so there's a nice experiment where they basically give out, sell insurance, or try to sell insurance. Let me just first show you. Here's what happened when they tried to sell index insurance in Ghana. The break-even price, the price at which the amount the insurer is promising you in expectation is equal to the amount that you're paying them, was 9.5 CDs. Okay. At 9.5 CDs, only 37% wanted it. At zero price, obviously everybody wanted it. So this is the price here. So, but by the time you are really at and if this was the price at which they were willing to sell, 12 was the minimum price at which anybody was willing to sell, because it's not just a matter of, it's a matter of how much you pay, but you also want to make some profits. And in addition, you have to take the trouble of measuring the rainfall, getting the data. There's some costs. You sell insurance. So 12 was the price at which people were willing to pay, and mostly 14 was the price they wanted to set. At 12, nobody wanted insurance, essentially. So this has been the ongoing challenge with this. If insurance is so wonderful, why don't people want it? Well, they don't want it for reasons. They don't trust this. It's too complicated. I don't understand what it, yeah.
I imagine like in America, there's also like people don't want insurance even if it's actuarially fair. Like what's the American percentage of people that would take an actual, even someone, just like what in comparison, I guess.
I mean, so it depends on what insurance. Most people have insurance on the houses and on the cars. And so health insurance is the one where I think there are obvious biases. So young people tend to be underinsured. But I think the objective probabilities are very difficult to assess. You really have a lot of private information. It's very hard to know, how much are you drinking. I mean, the insurance company doesn't know that. So there's I think a lot of moral hazard in that population, so I'm not sure the insurance is very fairly priced. It's probably priced mostly for for young people. Most people are not going to get seriously sick. So it's probably priced for the people who get drunk and crash their cars or something. So it's probably not very attractive insurance for somebody who knows he's not going to do it. So I don't know how much. I think there's some claim that there are underinsured people in the US, and I am not enough of an expert to judge that. So now, if you look at what's sad about this story is that because they randomized the price, say offered some people this price, some people this price, there was variation in take up. So some people, here 100% took it, here 50% took it, etc. So you have an experiment where you can compare people who were offered this price with people who were offered this price. Why would you want to do that? You want to do that to look at the effect of getting insurance. Suppose you got insurance. Does you change behavior? And here's sort of the nice fact that they find. So this is their spending. So these are people. So actually they did two things. Let me be a bit more precise. They actually did two experiments simultaneously. One was an experiment on insurance. You get subsidized insurance. Some people got it at free, some people got it close to free. And so this is the population that was induced to buy insurance. Some people got subsidized credit instead of insurance. So these are the people who get subsidized credit, capital only. Some people got nothing, and by themselves they really don't have any effect. But you get both credit and insurance, your investment in fertilizer goes up a lot. So it does seem to have an effect. And here's the proportion of household where members missed a meal. And that goes down from about halves when you get credit and insurance. So mostly because people, so the part of this is that they are getting insurance. So when their crop fails, they are getting some money. Part of this is the fact that they are putting in more fertilizer, so the crop is better, and so they're richer. Both of those are working for them, and so you get a massive effect. You have a 50% decline in people who are missing meals. So that's, so in other words, you see both an increase in investment. You are less exposed to risk, so you're more willing to invest. You buy fertilizer, and you see a decrease in effective risk. So good news on both sides. But people don't want it. So this is sort of where the insurance industry is poised right now. The product is good, it seems to be useful, but people don't want it. So part of the challenge, so coming back to this question of for example, the government, I think one of the potential spaces in which the government is trying to step in is to subsidize insurance. So actually have the market supplied, but reduce the price. So that would be a way to, that's sort of what Obamacare does. It's the same, and that general set of ideas seem to be also, right now people are experimenting with that class of ideas.